Sometimes a device sells really well to earn itself a successor. The case is true actually for the Samsung Gravity, which was released back in the fall of 2008. Now we see the Samsung Gravity 2, which makes some improvements upon the original, sporting some newer features, updated features actually, and also packed in a smaller, slimmer figure. At first glance, the Samsung Gravity 2 doesn't stray too far away from the original's form factor and design. It's the same side-sliding QWERTY device we've seen. Other than that, it is actually a lot thinner just because the dimensions reduced, especially noticeable in the thickness, so it doesn't add too much bulk in the pockets. The material they use is this red plastic, which has that just polished feel to it. Although it does track of fingerprints, we did like the general construction of it. You definitely feel it in the opening and closing mechanism on the device. Now, the first thing you notice is the 2.3-inch LCD screen on the front. Now, the thing that we didn't like about it is just the poor viewing angle it had. You move it left or right slightly, you lose visibility on screen, so you really have to look at it at a 90-degree angle. The keypad they use is a little bit better than the original. It's a little bit more spaced out, buttons are well sized, and we especially like the circular sized navigational pad. We didn't have any problems moving around with it. When you open up the device, you have the full QWERTY keyboard, which adds an additional row from the original. You have now the one strictly for numbers, so it's a little bit easier, less cumbersome. Buttons are slightly raised. They do have that tactile feel, and you start speed typing relatively really quick with it. And we definitely like the backlighting. It has this white backlighting that really makes it bright enough to see in any condition. On the left side, you have the volume rocker. On the other, you have your camera button and also the proprietary USB and charging port. And on the back, you have your 2-megapixel camera with the speakerphone right next to it. And when you remove the back cover, it reveals the battery, SIM card slot, and the slot for the microSD card. Now, the software running on the Samsung Gravity 2 is already something we've seen before previously on the Samsung Comeback. It's really quick, easy to navigate, and there's no hint of slowdown whatsoever. It doesn't make it too cumbersome to navigate. The home screen here is just your My Face favorites. You could pick your 5 friends and of course get access to them really quick. And once you get to the main menu, you have a rotating carousel of 5 icons to get to different applications on the device. Other than that, the personalization is kind of lacking, with only the wallpaper being changed as an option. We just wish that there was more style and more options for the personalization. Of course, the Samsung Gravity 2 is known for its messaging abilities, and of course creating text messages is relatively easy. We preferred actually using the QWERTY more than the keypad, just because you do a lot more speed typing that way. There's this option for an audio postcard, which is basically an MMS, but as the name itself implies, the postcard, you'll be able to add an audio sound to a friend. If you prefer to IM, you could use the AIM, Windows Live, or Yahoo application. And of course, if you exit out back to the home screen, it will continue to run in the background. As far as email application, we really liked it just because it gives you a generic list of which ones are supported. And of course, if you have a specific one, you just need to know your username, password, and of course the incoming and outgoing server addresses, which works relatively quite well for a non-smartphone device. For the most part, the NetFront browser on the Samsung Gravity 2 is tolerable. On 3G speeds, pages load up pretty quickly. There's just a slight delay in images popping up or rendering when you do start scrolling really quick. There's no page overview, so you have to just manually zoom in and zoom out. And when you do so, there is just a slight delay in it resizing the screen. But overall, it's like we said, a tolerable experience that's worthwhile on a non-smartphone device. As far as phone call quality goes in the Gravity 2, we got some mixed results. Our callers did sound somewhat muffled sounding, and on their end, we also did sound muffled, but there was no background noise or distortion. If you do plan on using the speakerphone, we just recommend putting it on the medium setting because it has a tendency to crackle at the highest setting. The battery life, though, on the Gravity 2 surprisingly did fairly well. We managed to get 5 days, still had 2 bars of battery. We had the screen set on the brightest setting, and on top of that, we mainly use it for text messaging and, of course, internet use. The media features, though, unfortunately, we were unable to play our test video in H.263, 264, and also MPEG-4 formats. Luckily, though, we did load up a YouTube video, and it ran quite smooth, although it looked pixelated, of course. As far as the camera quality goes, the 2 megapixel camera produced some muddy looking images which lacked any fine detail, and at the same time just had a bland colors all over. But other than that, the media player though, the music player on the device, unfortunately, if you do exit back to the home screen, it does not continue to play. It just stops the song where it is. Samsung's second go-around in the form of the Samsung Gravity 2 does make some improvements over the original, but still lacks in comparison to what's currently available on the carrier's lineup. Although it has a great QWERTY keyboard, we did like that aspect. Just the other features, we just feel that other devices like the Samsung comeback just had more to offer out of the box compared to this one. So if you're looking for a decent entry-level text messaging device, this is probably your device. If not, then we recommend something a little bit more full-featured than this.